Hi guys, this is Rush Journalist, and today I'm talking about Bloodborne. This is a first impressions video. So I recently got a PS4, and the only game I picked up so far is Bloodborne, because it was $20 and I couldn't pass it up, because I absolutely love its art style, and I fell in love with it when I watched a Let's Play by Super Best Friends Play. I never finished the Let's Play, so not everything was spoiled. But from there, I absolutely fell in love with it. I knew I had to play it. So I picked up a PS4, I got Bloodborne, I started playing it, then realized that I needed the 5 or 9 or something gigabyte update patch because the loading times were absolutely atrocious. After that, I got into the game, and man, as a person who's played a lot of Dark Souls 1, very few Dark Souls 2, and quite a bit of Dark Souls 3, this game is certainly like Dark Souls 3, or Dark Souls 3 is like this game. It's a lot more aggressive. At least as a character, you're aggressive, and enemies are aggressive. I've noticed that in Dark Souls 3, you feel like as a character, you're aggressive, but not as aggressive as the enemies themselves. Bloodborne turns this around and really turns it into an incredibly aggressive dance or flow to the combat. It definitely influences you or pushes you to be aggressive in the way everything works. A lot of the enemies are very fast and very hard-hitting. They will run towards you as soon as they see you. They'll be walking slowly, but a lot of times they will run straight for you. Sometimes they'll release a strong attack, or a lot of enemies have a spam attack, which is very easy to get caught up in and have a lot of your health taken away, especially when there's a few enemies around and they can stagger you, or maybe even some with a rifle and the background can stagger you, which is a new thing. Now we have long-range weapons, at least one long-range weapon at the start of the game, sort of, and then another weapon, and actually these firearms work as your shield, kind of. Your shield you're able to parry with and block attacks, and Bloodborne, due to the way it's more aggressive, you're not really standing back and shielding, but when an enemy goes to attack you, you can hit them with your secondary firearm, stagger them, and then go and hit them. You can also, let's say you take a hit from a character, you'll see an orange bar next to your health, and you hit the enemy again. That'll restore a little bit of that orange bar back to your health, so you'll use less of the Bloodborne's blood vials, which are, of course, the Estus flasks of this game, but they're a lot easier to acquire. So, one of the things I recommend, if you're a player like me, is starting off the class Lone Survivor, because it has quite a few points into Vitality, and in this game, blood vials are so often encountered. They're a very common occurrence that having high health at the beginning is actually fairly good. You'll spend less time putting points into health, and you have so many blood vials that you can kind of ignore health for a little bit. Of course, you're going to have to upgrade your health later on in the game, like always, but at least at the beginning you can focus on strength, or endurance, or any other kind of build you're going for. So far, I've been focusing on strength. I've upgraded my weapon once, the saw cleaver, as you can see in the gameplay footage there, and it's going alright so far. I have not beat the first boss, unfortunately, because I suck so much at the game. Now, I'm actually really amazed at how From Software was able to pull this game off on the PS4. There's definitely points where there's slowdown. I noticed that after playing so many games on PC, especially games on Ultra on PC, it's a little hard to get into this. The frame rate kind of hurts my eyes a little bit, actually, trying to go back to 30 frames per second, and quite possibly 15 frames a lot of the time when there's some crazy stuff going on. You can also tell there's some janky textures, but it's not too bad. A lot of it's really nice. It has the typical Dark Souls shine to everything. Everything just seems very shiny, but that's good. It leads to a lot of great effects. One of my favorite things is the clothing. Everyone has clothing, and it has amazing animation. It has amazing textures that makes it look so real. And of course, blood. Blood is absolutely awesome. You can slash at enemies, and your entire hunter, your character, will be covered in blood from head to toe. And it's just one of the coolest things to see, especially when it's so aggressive. And you can sit there and you just see this blood covered in you while you sit here slashing at multiple enemies, and they're slashing at you, and it's just a struggle for survival. And so I'm seriously amazed that From Software was able to make this great of looking game on the PS4. However, I do know that the PS4 is certainly a more powerful console compared to the Xbox One, but it pales in comparison to modern PCs, especially mine, which is rather budget, with an older i7 and an R9 280X, which can run Dark Souls 3 on ultra, no problem, no frame rate drops. So far, the game hasn't been incredibly hard, but I definitely know there's going to be some difficulty increases. If you're first getting into Dark Souls, maybe don't get into it with Bloodborne, because if you end up going to the other Dark Souls games, the way Bloodborne works might kind of throw you off a little bit. So I feel like it's easier to get the feel of a normal Dark Souls game with a more of reserved combat style and fighting enemies, rather than going head-on in Bloodborne and being very, very aggressive. But it's so fun to play. All the enemies are cool. They're very much the same, and that goes for all Dark Souls games. Each area has the same enemies, and it gets a little bit old, especially when you sit there farming like me. I like to farm a lot so I can get some stats and be a little overpowered for the upcoming bosses. Especially me, since I suck and I need every advantage I can. But it's exactly like a Souls game should be. It's just fun, challenging, mysterious. The whole Lovecraftian vibe that it has going on is absolutely frightening. I tried playing it late at night, and I actually had trouble completing it, and I get scared all the time, especially with the enemies being fast. It's absolutely terrifying to have this giant enemy come running towards you, or a smaller enemy come running towards you, and they have these sharp blades, and they're so aggressive, and they'll sit there and they'll spam attacks, and you'll be dead within seconds. Which I don't love dying, but I think that's cool, and it feels so satisfying in Bloodborne to be able to get past a boss or get past some enemies, get farther on in the level because of the whole aggressiveness, and you just feel so powerful. And I've certainly felt more powerful, or at least better, in Bloodborne than I have in any other Souls game. I feel like you're almost kind of equal or on par with the enemies, where the Souls games I've always kind of felt weaker. Well guys, this is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.